Hello everyone, I'm back with another video where I will be talking about probably one of the biggest books to come out in recent times. We've been teased about it. Uh, we all saw the ads on the DC books. We got some teases to uh, the new what Brian Michael Bendis will be bringing to his run in Superman. We got Action Comic number 1000 story. We got the Destination number 0 story as well, where we get introduced to the first one. We get introduced to a new villain, Ragol Zar, who claims to have destroyed Krypton. In Destination number 0, we got some of the more Metropolis related stuff, uh, but there were just little tastes of what we might expect, which you really didn't ease a lot of people concerned of what Benz would be bringing. So with finally the release of Man of Steel number 1, we get some answers to all of this. So this is like the first full Brian Michael Bendis Superman story, the first full issue story where we'll be exploring Ragol Zar, where will we get some other aspects that will obviously play out in the regular books section and Superman. So there's a lot of stuff happening in this issue. We do have like a very like a main story, a full story that sets up upcoming plot. Season starts planting little seeds there. We do have two bookends. So the first one introduces us properly to who Ragol Zar is, his motivations, why he claims to have destroyed Krypton. If he did, we really don't know. He says he did. We don't know, but he is concerned, or was concerned, that Krypton had recently expanded to other planets, seen as a sort of threat to all these planetary, these solar systems. You know, just like a colonial power. And so he feels that something should be done. Unfortunately, his request to have some sort of direct action taken is rejected, which also adds to the story. This sort of also introduces Bendis to the larger DC universe, to at this point maybe the cosmic aspect of the DC universe, as one of the guardians of the universe tells him that they have confidence that Krypton will live up to be better, now that it has this new larger role in the universe, which so he seems, he's actually very disappointed. Looks a little bit, kind of beaten down here, but he definitely decides to, take action. Then the other bookend at the end, which is a 2 pages drawn by Jason Fabok, shows us what actually happened to John and Lois. I really like the sequence that led to it, but which you know, which sort of they seem to be sucked into this sort of white energy, white light. We're not sure what it is, um, but that's what made them disappear. What it is, I mean, I've read somewhere that it might be a call to either Crisis or Zero Hour. Personally, I think they were sucked into the Phantom Zone, which is, again, another type of when you're input into the Phantom Zone with the projector, you do get this sort of white light as well. So, and the fact that the Phantom Zone plays a role in, I believe, Action Comics 1001, the first arc there, does involve the Phantom Zone. Makes me think that John and Louis were sucked into the Phantom Zone. Then we got to the main story, which introduces us to a new character, Deputy Fire Chief Melody Moore, as Superman saves people from a burning building, and he actually suspects that there might be something afoul, something not that it might have been actually provoked, an arson, and the fact that two bad villains were there, two fire themed villains, Firefly and Killer Moth, are actually in Metropolis. Sort of might suggest that they had something involved, to some involvement in that. And I gotta say, I really like the new character. I actually posted this page on Twitter because this page made me actually like the character a lot. I mean, there's a lot of character in the art by Ivan Rice and Joe Prado. Just this middle panel section here, made me really like this character. I also like how the story itself ended, with Clark writing the article at the Daily Planet. White was kind of like, maybe you shouldn't really bother yourself with it, but then he says, hey, Superman was there, so okay, write it. And that would lead us to the end section. So I really enjoyed it, and as a Superman fan, I approve of this book. It really gives a much better taste of what Bendis has coming up. I think those who were nervous about what was going to happen, nervous with Bendis, I think it feels that there's nothing to worry about. It. Superman is in really great hands. Then I also picked up Green Arrow Annual number 2, the first story by the Benson sisters, where, I mean, it ties into No Justice, which I have not read, but now I'm kind of curious of picking it up. All 4 issues are at my shop still, so that's good. And so it sort of takes in between the pages of the last issue of No Justice. I actually flipped through issue 4 of the shop, and so the annual actually goes into takes really place in the middle of it, but it also sort of tells us why the Martian Manhunter gave Oliver this box, and this box um, seems to have made Oliver Queen like the most powerful hero now, because as I understand it, this box actually has the capability, whatever's inside, to stop the league in case of trouble. If something happens to the league, if they go rogue or something. That's what I got out of it. You know, gives Oliver a much bigger power. Like I said, makes him like the most powerful hero because he seems to have the, I don't know, capability of shutting down the league, of taking down the league in case they go rogue. And Oliver doesn't really like that. It's He's absolutely nervous. So you won't find out, the consequence of that until issue 43 when their run starts. So we still have like two more issues before they're full, before they take over the book, the regular book. But I think that the thing that I love the most about it is because we get like the most unexpected return to comics, the biggest, most unexpected return, which is the return of, yes, here we go, the Aeroplane. That's right. I actually posted this image on Twitter as well. The Aeroplane is back, and those of you who know their Green Arrow history, this is one of the things, Aeroplane, is one of the things that sort of made Green Arrow be sort of like a rip-off of Batman. When he debuted back in 1941, created by George Papp, artist George Papp, and Mort Weisinger, the man who would later become the regular editor of Superman throughout throughout the entire Silver Age. Sort of make Green Arrow a copy of Batman, but instead of being a bat, he was sort of modeled after Robin Hood, but he had the similar things as Batman. He had the Arrow Cave, the Arrow car, and of course the Aeroplane. And instead of a utility belt, he had his trick arrows. So now they really not sense. Only the only time you actually see all of this sort of Batman like equipment is usually like in flashback stories, since the days of Daniel Neal and Neil Adams reinventing the character. They've never really showed up. You usually see him, in the flashback. So I actually love that part of the book. That was pretty cool. Uh, the other cool part is Batgirl actually shows up, but she doesn't really play a very active role. She's, once again sort of like in her Oracle mode. So she's, behind the scenes, sort of coordinating with Green Arrow through the computers. So again, that was like a nice little touch where to it. So yeah, I mean, it was a great fun read. Like I said, got me curious about picking up No Justice to get the whole story. but you know they did a good job of telling the story on its own, and not necessarily making me say, "Oh, geez, I missed the what's going on in No Justice, and I'm gonna be lost." No, I definitely enjoyed the story uh, by itself. So yeah, those are my two books. And I don't have anything else to share. Mm, no, I don't think so. Um, I'm actually, well, I do have like an idea, and hopefully, if I have time, I'll probably kind of talk a little bit about the golden age artist of Superman, because I've been rereading my Superman Chronicles, and one of the things I've been finding myself doing lately is sort of looking at the artist, the ghost artist of those early issues. Um, the more identifiable artist from like the earlier part of the 40s are identifiable. But I'm really talking about those who aren't necessarily distinct from, or too distinct from Joe Shuster, who are unnamed, and I definitely would like to do a video talking about them, because some of them actually had led very interesting lives after working with on Superman, especially an artist called named Paul Cassidy, who was the second ghost artist, who after he left the Schuster studio actually did a master's degree, I believe, and did the very first academic paper on comics. And I was looking him up on the internet, and I found portion articles talking about why he did after, and what his paper was about. So I hope I could do something soonish talking about this artist, um, because I find that portion of history of Superman's history, not these ghost stories, not really being too well known. Some are, some aren't, and I think it's time to sort of talk a little bit more about them. Anyways, I'll leave you here, and as always, until next time, keep smiling.